Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. My name is Karen Connolly of Balanced Explorations, and I have a travel agency that focuses on people who are interested in traveling based on their DNA or their ancestry, and those who are interested in traveling to sacred places, either places that are sacred to themselves or just places that are known to be sacred by other people. So, what I wanted to talk about today is how important, sustainable travel is overall and how it can be integrated with sacred travel, and it should be. And especially with the one distinct little piece, which is protecting the sense of place. Often, that's not something that people think about. People either, choose their travel based, if they are choosing it based on sustainability, they might go so far as to pick a place that would be more regenerative, which is a more extreme version of sustainability, as in it would leave the place better than when you got there. So that might involve things like voluntourism, like you're trying to actually spend your time while you're visiting an area to make it better. But a lot of things that you don't think about is, you might want to travel to a place that you thought was sacred, or spiritual, or you remembered it from when you might have visited 20 years ago. But then you go there now and it seems different and you don't know quite what it is. The energy is different. Maybe the people, the composition of the people who are there is different. So, some things to really look for um, about what makes a sense of place is, are there regional restaurants and menus? Can you get food that has either been served there, not maybe not forever, but what that region is known for, special dishes, or can you like not find that anywhere? Or have they stopped, growing and serving, those things? Maybe they're just focusing all on, tourism now, and there is no, agricultural or the people who made these special, you know, handcrafts just aren't doing that anymore because they're, working in the hospitality industry at the hotel or the resort. And maybe some big corporation might own it all, and they just did some, global market research that says people like this kind of food, and they just serve that now instead of what it's known for. So, when you go to places, you can actually search out these places. So if you want the regional feel to still be there, you have to frequent those businesses. You know, People follow, where the money goes. If they don't have enough customers, to keep their inn or their restaurant or their little shop, with their specialized, regional products and business, then they'll either go out of business and people will, those things will just disappear forever, or people just might do them as hobbies and it might not even be available for sale anymore. So, I mean, that's something to think about, sustainability, when you're actually traveling to a place, especially if it's known for something, that's important and special that you would want to continue. So, think about where you're spending your money and who it's going to and what it's going towards. And like, what kind of music do they play there? Have they played a particular kind of music? Like, are they known for certain folk music? And now you go there and you can't even find anyone that plays it anymore? it's a real possibility. So, I mean, there's two ways to look at this. You could either look for places where they emphasize the culture and sense of place and, frequent that. And, then, you know, give that, you know, town, city, country your travel dollars. Or as I said, you can go where into places where you feel is, they're special for you. I like to call it sacred travel, but it could be just general spiritual, not religious. Um, I consider the earth sacred, so any spot can be sacred. But just think of, what you're doing when you're there, and is it harming or is it helping, and is it contributing to a decrease in whatever makes that place special, or is it helping to protect and encourage it? Those are just some things to think about. Um, and when you go to these places, just think about it. I mean, look around. Can you tell where you are just by looking around or at the architecture or the landscapes? If it just looks like a modern city and you have no idea where you are, and that is a place that has not protected its sense of place, and and there might not be a way to get it back. I mean, you might have to search, in, little, I don't want to say back alleys, but, like little, tiny storefronts that aren't really that known. You might have to really search to find the culture and to find that sense of place in some of those more, modern monolithic cities, where it could be in any country and you just don't, there's nothing special about it. So find what makes each area special. And that's where the sustainable travel intersects with sacred travel. Find what's special in that area and keep it alive. And it could be like the natural areas or the scenic, areas. I've seen recently some, stories, especially since in the past couple of years, where they are starting to charge people to park, at the beaches in Hawaii, for example. Before there were so many cars there that even the residents there couldn't even access, the trails or the beaches because people were parking like right in front of their house and there was just like no way to even get there. So they've been coming up with other ways to make the tourism more sustainable. If the tourists are, using the resources, they can, possibly, pay for it or pay for parking, at least if you're not paying like an entry fee per person. And they also had things like, maybe days where only local people could go to those and weren't charged. So there's different ways it can be implemented. um Cultural assets. So I mean, that could be people, or that could be, the, museums, like if there's ancient ruins or something, the protection of those, and making them available without allowing them to, fall apart and be degraded by the by tourism. So it could be, limiting the number of people. It could be only being open certain days of the week, and it could be, charging more or charging if you weren't charging before. So, I mean, if you're going on a trip, you should have a budget for these types of things. So it's not, going to be a surprise like, oh, I didn't have to pay for this last time and now I do. Think of it in terms of your giving giving to the world and allowing it um to retain some of the good feeling of what you wanted while you're visiting there in the first place. Um, it keeps the destination identity, which is really, really important. Because otherwise, why would you choose to go one place over another if they were all, the same? You wouldn't. You would just go somewhere nearby where it wasn't too much trouble. And, if you want to go to a certain type of restaurant, you just go to the restaurant and go home, or you'd have delivery or something. There'd be no real purpose to traveling anywhere if there wasn't, a special sense of place to it. At least that's my opinion and interpretation. It's what makes each place distinctive and what makes you want to go there. So let's all do our part when we can to allow them to retain their distinctiveness and only do things that enhance the character of the place. That's one of those regenerative principles where you try to leave it better than it was before. And maybe if most of the people are just going to a generic restaurant they can find anywhere in the world, then you could probably feel like you're actually doing something for the local economy if you search out a local restaurant or search out some special type of theater or art or dance or music that you can only find there. I mean, on my various trips to Europe, I have realized that if you see something that you want, especially if it's like a food product, you need to buy it in that region. Because even if you're, say, for example, you're in Italy, if you see something in Florence and you're like, oh, I'll wait until I get to Rome, which I actually did this. I think it was Florence. I wanted to buy some pesto sauce and I thought I'd be able to get it in Rome, but they didn't have it there. Each region has its own specialties and they don't necessarily have them everywhere. Like we tend to do in the United States, you tend to be able to find, anything you want in any supermarket, or if you have to go to a specialty store, then you could find it there. But it's not like you'd have to go hours away or to another country to get it. Like we can get things from all over the world in almost any place in the US, or at least, we can order it online too. But it might be a little more difficult if you're traveling, globally. If there's some kind of specialty of that region, buy it when you're there. You don't want to feel like you missed out on your chance to try something that is only available there. So, for example, I was just in Greece a few months ago, and I actually did buy, local honey that was made from the beehives that were kept next door, and local. It wasn't the newest olive oil from Greece, but it was like the previous call it, you know, crop, of olive oil, and I think they do it every few months. And I'm like, they're like, here's a card, you can order it online, and I'm thinking to myself, once I go home, I'm not gonna like spend $30 to like have olive oil shipped from Greece. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just, go to the supermarket and see what they have. Or, if I want the organic, I'll see which organic one I can get for, a reasonable price. Like, I'm not going to do that. It's special because I'm here and I'm buying it while I'm here and I'm using it. And I did notice there was a completely different taste to that olive oil than the olive oil I get in the store, even when it claims it's from Greece. So it has a much lighter taste to it. It doesn't have this really strong, flavor that I don't really care for, which might mean it's just been sitting around longer. Like, I'm not that much of an expert in olive oil that I would know why one would have a stronger flavor over another. I just know that the one in Greece was much more, light flavored, and I'm so happy I bought it while I was there. And I helped to, support a small local, you know, olive oil company. That's a lot of, like, on some of the islands in Greece, like, that was pretty much all they had as far as industry. They're like making like clay pottery, or they're, you know, growing olives and either selling the olives or making olive oil from them. So, and some of them had the very, very sweet wine. So I mean, I like Moscato myself, but the very sweet wine in Greece was like very sweeter than that, and but not even sweeter. It tasted almost like prune juice. It was almost like too strong, like it was like making wine from raisins, which is a little too strong for me. I kind of like it just a little lighter and sweeter. But see, I'm happy I tried it. I also tried some honey mead as well, which was really interesting. It's like fermented honey water. So I mean, that's really, like an interesting thing. So I like trying the different things from the different countries. So thank you for joining me today, and let me know how you are going to integrate sustainability into your travels, and what makes it, sacred to you, a sacred experience. And I will be talking to you soon. And bye.